Hi, this is Ken Ferry with this week's Boots in the Field. We're busy here in the office processing yield maps, soil test data, and spread maps, as well as working on a monster pile of plot work that has to be processed and get ready for our meetings this winter. Things are going good. Last week was a busy week. We did go ahead and hand shell the fixed flex plots, and it was a big day for us. We started about 9 o'clock in the morning, finished up about 4 in the afternoon, and actually counted, weighed, scaled, and measured over 3,000 ears. Zach's going to post some of the actual video of the day. If you want to see how you hand harvest 3,000 ears in one day's time, you watch some of that video. It's a pretty amazing job. Big crew. Big thanks to all the farmers that came in and volunteered their time to process it, as well as volunteering their shellers, making that process work. A lot of ideas were kicked around about how we could streamline it and maybe make it even faster for next year. But huge success, mountain of data there that we'll crank through, and we'll be able to present to you again this winter as we work through it. Had some questions into the office here the last week or so about tillage in fields that are rutted up that didn't get done, and I think about 90% of it did get done as I drive around the country. A lot of fields were tilled because of ruts cut in at side dressing or spraying this early spring when we had all that water. What are we going to do with fields that we didn't get the tillage done on? Or in 2 cases, I know farmers picked up new land for next year, but picked it up late and it is rutted up. What's the fix going to be? We're going to have to lay in the weeds and wait. There may be an opportunity that we could slip in there and get this tillage done yet. It might come in February, it might come in March from that perspective, or it might be next spring when we have to fill those ruts in. But from this stage on, we're going to shift to a more shallow type of a tillage. So we're talking again about shallow chisels for you guys in a vertical format. You're going to have to be in there chiseling with something on 14-inch centers or on 6-7 inches deep, fill those ruts in. For you guys that are running in a vertical format, it's probably not as crucial. You can come in there and run your disc rippers a little bit on the shallow side so we aren't drying this thing out too much, and then level up with your soil finishers. But if we're doing it in the spring past good freezing and thawing activity behind the primary tillage, remember our rule of thumb is to stay awful close to that tillage. So you might be doing your chisel plowing one day and leveling the next. And if we're into warmer temperatures, it may be within 3 hours. Don't let the what I call watermelon rinds that are rolling out as you're chiseling, don't let them turn into clods before you fit that field back down. So keep your soil finishers or your harrows pretty close to your chisel plows. The later you do this tillage, the more important that's going to be. If we can get the tillage done in a window where you still have freezing and thawing left, it's not going to be near as crucial. Also had some ground come through. Guys are concerned it was new ground for them, but they didn't get their anhydrous on, or they didn't get their strips in this fall. Here again, if we start looking at stripping that in the spring, we're going to tell you to be awful careful putting anhydrous on in spring strip till. I know it works and we have success, but that success is a little bit hit and miss. Strip till and anhydrous in the spring and planting on top of it has led to some of the bigger disasters that we've had to deal with in the replant situation, because it doesn't kill the crop completely. It just may knock out a third or half the stand sometimes, and it's tough to make the decision on what you're going to do with it. I think you can still put the anhydrous on in the spring with RTK, but try to make it a point to plant off of that strip, especially if we don't have enough water to tame that strip down itself. And some of these fields, you might be better off just to go ahead and no-till into the bean stubble and side dress your anhydrous back into it later itself. But with that, we're going to keep on cranking on the plot stuff, so we're ready to go in January in the meetings itself. This will be the last Boots in the Field report for this season. Later on in December, early January, we'll start up again our Technology Tuesday podcast and the Agronomy Thursday podcast like we did last year. But for right now, this will be all from the Boots in the Field. So with that, I'm wishing everybody a happy Thanksgiving and a good holiday season.